So too, Brahmin, here a Tathagata appears in the world, Arahant Sammasambuddha, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime, knower of worlds, incomparable leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened, blessed. He declares this world with its gods, its maras and its brahmas, this generation with its recluses and Brahmins, its princes and its people, which he has himself realized with direct knowledge. He teaches the Dhamma good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end, with the right meaning and phrasing, and he reveals a holy life that is utterly perfect and pure. A householder or householder's son, or one born in some other clan, hears that Dhamma. On hearing the Dhamma, he acquires faith in the Tathagata. Possessing that faith, he considers thus: household life is crowded and dusty. Life gone forth is wide open. It is not easy while living in a home to lead the holy life, utterly perfect and pure as a polished shell. Suppose I shave off my hair and beard, put on the yellow robe, and go forth from the home life into homelessness. On a later occasion, abandoning a small or a large fortune, abandoning a small or a large circle of relatives, he shaves off his hair and beard, puts on the yellow robe, and goes forth from the home life into homelessness. Having thus gone forth and possessing the monk's training and way of life, abandoning the killing of living beings, he abstains from killing living beings. With rod and weapon laid aside, gentle and kindly, he abides compassionate to all living beings. Abandoning the taking of what is not given, he abstains from taking what is not given. Taking only what is given, expecting only what is given. By not stealing, he abides in purity. Abandoning in celibacy, he observes celibacy, living apart, abstaining from the vulgar practice of sexual intercourse. Abandoning false speech, he abstains from false speech. He speaks truth, adheres to truth, is trustworthy and reliable, one who is no deceiver of the world. Abandoning malicious speech, he abstains from malicious speech. He does not repeat elsewhere what he has heard here in order to divide those people from these. Nor does he repeat to these people what he has heard elsewhere in order to divide these people from those. Thus he is one who reunites those who are divided, a promoter of friendships, who enjoys concord, rejoices in concord, delights in concord, a speaker of words that promote concord. Abandoning harsh speech, he abstains from harsh speech. He speaks such words as are gentle, pleasing to the ear and lovable, as go to the heart, are courteous, desired by many, and agreeable to many. Abandoning gossip, he abstains from gossip. He speaks at the right time, speaks what is fact, speaks on what is good, speaks on the Dhamma Vinaya. At the right time, he speaks such words as are worth recording, reasonable, moderate, and beneficial. He abstains from injuring seeds and plants. He practices eating only in one part of the day, abstaining from eating at night and outside the proper time. He abstains from dancing, singing, music, and theatrical shows. He abstains from wearing garlands, smartening himself with scent, and embellishing himself with unguents. He abstains from high and large couches. He abstains from accepting gold and silver as money. He abstains from accepting raw grain. He abstains from accepting raw meat. He abstains from accepting women and girls. He abstains from accepting men and women slaves. He abstains from accepting goats and sheep. He abstains from accepting fowl and pigs. He abstains from accepting elephants, cattle, horses and mares. He abstains from accepting fields and land. He abstains from going on errands and running messages. He abstains from buying and selling. He abstains from false weights, false metals, and false measures. He abstains from cheating, deceiving, defrauding, and trickery. He abstains from wounding, murdering, binding, brigandage, plunder, and violence. I'll stop here for a moment. This is a list of moral conduct that a monk keeps. Here, this sutta is going to several practices of a monk. And these practices are part of the Pali word charana. The charana can be translated as conduct or practice. One of the names of the Buddha, epithets of the Buddha, is Vijja Charana Sampano, one perfect in Vijja is knowledge, and Charana is conduct. One endowed with knowledge and conduct, or one perfect in knowledge and conduct. So here you have a list of what you mean by this word conduct, charana. So the first one is sila. Come the second one is contentment. He becomes content with robes to protect his body, and with alms food to maintain his stomach. And wherever he goes, he sets out taking only these with him. Just as a bird, wherever it goes, flies with its wings as its only burden, so too the monk becomes content with robes to protect his body, and with alms food to maintain his stomach. And wherever he goes, he sets out taking only these with him. Possessing this aggregate of noble virtue, he experiences within himself a bliss that is blameless. The third one we are coming into is regarding the sense doors. On seeing a form with the eye, he does not grasp at its signs and features, since if he left the eye faculty unguarded, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and grief might invade him. He practices the way of its restraint. He guards the eye faculty. He undertakes the restraint of the eye faculty. Similarly, on hearing a sound with the ear, smelling an odor with the nose, tasting a flavor with the tongue, touching a tangible with the body, cognizing a mind object with the mind, he does not grasp at its signs and features, since if he left the faculties unguarded, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and greed might invade him. He practices the way of the restraint. He guards the faculties, undertakes the restraint of the faculties. Possessing this noble restraint of the faculties, he experiences within himself a bliss that is unsullied. Fourth one, you come into sati sampajanya, recollection and mindfulness. He becomes one who acts in full awareness when going forward and returning, who acts in full awareness when looking ahead and looking away, who acts in full awareness when flexing and extending his limbs, who acts in full awareness when wearing his robes and carrying his outer board and robe. His outer robe and board. Who acts in full awareness when eating, drinking, consuming food and tasting, who acts in full awareness when defecating and urinating, who acts in full awareness when walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up, talking and keeping silent. Stop here for a moment. This last list I read is more of sampajanya, mindfulness. Sati is recollecting the four objects of sati, body, feelings, mind and Dhamma. Okay, the next one we come into is seclusion. Possessing this aggregate of noble virtue, this noble restraint of the faculties, and possessing this noble mindfulness and full awareness, he resorts to a secluded resting place, the forest, the root of a tree, a mountain, a ravine, a hillside cave, a charnel ground, a jungle thicket, an open space, a heap of straw. Now we come to abandoning the hindrances. On returning from his alms round, after his meal, he sits down, folding his legs crosswise, setting his body erect, and establishing mindfulness before him. Abandoning covetousness for the world, he abides with the mind free from covetousness. He purifies his mind from covetousness. Abandoning ill will and hatred, he abides with the mind free from ill will, compassionate for the welfare of all living beings. He purifies his mind from ill will and hatred. Abandoning sloth and torpor, he abides free from sloth and torpor, percipient of light, mindful and fully aware. He purifies his mind from sloth and torpor. Abandoning restlessness and remorse, he abides unagitated, with a mind inwardly peaceful. He purifies his mind from restlessness and remorse. Abandoning doubt, he abides having gone beyond doubt, unperplexed about wholesome states. He purifies his mind from doubt. I stop here for a moment. So here this last description is about abandoning the 5 hindrances, covetousness, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse and doubt. Also you notice here, it says when a person attains this state, is percipient of light. The mind starts to light up because it's a state very near to the first jhana. This light is actually from within, but nowadays some teachers talk about the light outside. So this is the state in now later books they call upachara samadhi, threshold concentration. Then we come to the jhanas. So just now that one abandoning the hindrances before actually entering jhana. Having thus abandoned these 5 hindrances, imperfections of the mind that weaken wisdom, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, he enters upon and abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by applied and sustained thought, with delight and pleasure born of seclusion. This Brahmin is called a footprint of the Tathagata, something scraped by the Tathagata, something marked by the Tathagata. But a noble disciple does not yet come to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened. The Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Blessed One. The Sangha is practicing the good way. Again, with the stilling of applied and sustained thought, a monk enters upon and abides in the second jhana, which has self-confidence and singleness of mind without applied and sustained thought, with delight and pleasure born of concentration. This too Brahmin is called a footprint of the Tathagata. But a noble disciple does not yet come to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened, etc. Again, with the fading away of delight, a monk abides in equanimity, mindful and fully aware, still feeling pleasure with the body. He enters upon and abides in the third jhana. This too is called a footprint of the Tathagata. But a noble disciple does not yet come to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened. Again, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, and with the previous disappearance of joy and grief, a monk enters upon and abides in the fourth jhana. This is called a footprint of the Tathagata, but a noble disciple does not yet come to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened. I'll stop here for a moment. So up to here, you have this description of charana. In this sutta, you find the first one is sila. The second is contentment. 3, guarding the sense doors. 4, sati sampajanya. Here it translates as full awareness. Mindfulness and full awareness. And then the 5th is seclusion, resorts to a secluded resting place. 6 is abandoning of the hindrances. 7 is the 4 jhanas. So in this sutta, 7 items make up charana, conduct. But this is not complete. If you look at Lady Sayadaw's book, he also has compiled this list of charana. It's also about 7 or 8 items. But I have researched through various suttas in the Nikayas. I find there are 3 other items you can get from other suttas. So combining another 3, you actually get 10 items under charana. 3 other items also very important. One is moderation in eating, bojana matanyutta, moderation in eating. Eating food only to maintain the body, helping with the practice, not to indulge in eating. Another one is devotion to wakefulness, jagarya nu yoga. Jagarya nu yoga, devotion to wakefulness, trying to keep awake 24 hours a day. This is a very important one. And the third one is satta sadhamma, 7 good qualities. What are these 7 good qualities necessary in a monk's conduct? Saddha, hiri ottappa, bahu satcha, virya, sati and panya. Saddha is faith or trust or confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Hiri ottappa is sense of shame and fear of wrongdoing. That's how it's usually translated. Bahu satcha is much learning, much hearing of the Dhamma. Virya is energy, energetic effort. Sati is recollection of the four objects of sati. Panya is wisdom. So the complete list of charana is these 7 in this sutta plus another 3. Moderation in eating, devotion to wakefulness, and the 7 good qualities. Okay. So this last part we just read, the 4 jhanas, the Buddha says, are the footprints of the Buddha, because that the Buddha says is how he became enlightened. The actual way he walked to enlightenment. So the 4 jhanas. Then the Buddha continues. When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, he directs it to the knowledge of the recollection of past lives. He recollects his manifold past lives, that is 1 birth, 2 births, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, 1,000, 100,000, many aeons of world contraction, many aeons of world expansion, many aeons of world contraction and expansion. Thus, with the aspects and particulars, he recollects his manifold past lives. This too, Brahmin, is called a footprint of the Tathagata. But a noble disciple does not yet come to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened. When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, he directs it to the knowledge of the passing away and reappearance of beings. With the divine eye, which is purified and surpasses the human, he sees beings passing away and reappearing, inferior and superior, fair and ugly, fortunate and unfortunate. He understands how beings pass on according to their actions or karma. So this too, Brahmin, is called a footprint of the Tathagata, but a noble disciple does not yet come to the conclusion the Blessed One is fully enlightened. When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, directs it to the knowledge of the destruction of the taints or asavas. He understands as it actually is. This is suffering. This is the origin of suffering. This is the cessation of suffering. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. These are the taints or asavas. This is the origin of the taints. This is the cessation of the taints. This is the way leading to the cessation of the taints. This too, Brahmin, is called a footprint of the Tathagata, something scraped by the Tathagata, something marked by the Tathagata. But a noble disciple still has not yet come to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened, etc. Rather, he is in the process of coming to this conclusion. When he knows and sees thus, his mind is liberated from the taint of sensual desire, being and ignorance. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge it is liberated. He understands birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. This too, Brahmin, is called a footprint of the Tathagata, something scraped by the Tathagata, something marked by the Tathagata. It is at this point that a noble disciple has come to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened, the Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Blessed One, the Sangha is practicing the good way. And it is at this point, Brahmin, that the simile of the elephant's footprint has been completed in detail. Okay, from this sutta, we learn that the conduct of a monk or the practice of the monk consists of 10 things. First one is sila, second is contentment, third is guarding the sense doors, fourth is here it says mindfulness and full awareness, sati sampajanya, or recollection and mindfulness. Fifth that I've added is moderation in eating. Then 6 is devotion to wakefulness. 7 is the 7 good qualities. And then 8 is seclusion, going to a secluded place to practice. 9 is meditating and abandoning the hindrances, getting rid of the hindrances. 10 is entering the jhanas, the 4 jhanas. So this is the conduct or practice of a monk. And then after attaining the 4 jhanas, the Buddha said, he used it to attain the 3 knowledges and become enlightened. So you see, the Buddha in this sutta says the footprints of the Buddha, how the Buddha walked to the path the Buddha walked to enlightenment. Firstly, the first footprint is the first jhana. Second is the second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, and then the three knowledges, recollecting the past lives, seeing beings passing away and reappearing with the divine eye or the heavenly eye. And then the third knowledge is understanding the Four Noble Truths and destroying the asavas, the taints. So these are the footprints of the Buddha.